Hello tout le monde, c'est Damona, j'espère que vous allez bien. Moi ça va, je suis toujours malade en fait, comme les épisodes précédents. Euh, la dernière fois justement, on avait découvert qu'en fait on était dans des rêves permanents euh, et que la solution pour sortir de ce rêve permanent, c'est de trouver la personne qui génère ce rêve en fait. Il y a une personne qui tout le temps rêve du festival. Et donc du coup, il faut qu'on trouve cette personne pour arriver à arrêter ce rêve-là, en tout cas. Donc voilà, donc c'est ce qu'on est en train de chercher. Là, on est tombé sur une note de Donny Hazard qui raconte un peu ce que les histoires, en fait, les petites légendes que lui ont racontées les gens sur la Rani Kusanali. Donc voilà, il y a des gens qui racontent des trucs plus ou moins vrais, mais dans l'ensemble, c'est ce qui ressort, c'est que vraiment, elle est la Rani Kusanali, pardon, est très bienveillante. Elle prend soin des gens, tout ça. Donc vraiment, enfin voilà quoi, bref. Donc on va pouvoir reprendre le cours de l'histoire et
Wow, Dunyarzad wrote all of this. Sounds like she was always thinking of us even while we were away. Even though she was also busy preparing for the Sub-Zero's festival and had all her health problems to worry about. She must have wanted to give this to us as a gift on the day of the Sub-Zero's festival, right?
Mhm. Oui, parce
If
qu'en
we
fait, elle
hadn't
cherchait
found this book,
des infos parce que nous,
we
on
never
cherchait
would
des
have
infos.
known. But now that we know, we can't even thank her.
Ouais, Denis Hazard, la pauvre.
Hey! Where are you off to now?
Faut qu'on lui parle, même si c'est pas la vraie, entre guillemets. Hop, j'allais monter, faut descendre. Bien entendu. En vrai, j'aime trop l'architecture. Genre vraiment la petite maison devant laquelle on était là. C'est trop le genre de petite maison que je veux habiter plus tard. Genre, ce genre d'architecture est ouf en vrai. Même si ça a l'air d'être une tannée à meubler, parce que les ronds, c'est toujours une tannée à meubler. Genre, je kiffe. Je kiffe, je kiffe. Ah, très polygonal.
It's Dunyarzad's puppet.
Mhm. J'imagine que je me sens mieux en le disant à voix haute. Merci.
Traveler,
Ok.
you must be exhausted.
Ouais.
Come to think of it, we've been stuck in this place for a really, really long time. Heck, even the last time we were chatting happily with Dunyarzad feels like an eternity ago.
Mm. Avec la vraie, surtout pas avec son meupette. Sa marionnette. Ah, commence à nous faire penser à tous les moments mignons alors que elle est décédée.
Paimon still remembers when we were sitting here, and the way her eyes sparkled when she talked about Nilou's dance of Sub-Zeros.
Je peux à peine m'en souvenir à présent.
There will always be frustrations in life, but I know that the point of living is not to leave behind any regrets.
Qui a dit?
That was what the real Dunyarzad said, wasn't it? Does that mean
Elle reste consciente de Niazad?
Yes, traveler. What is it?
Oh, so she's still just a puppet. But just now, how come...
Ne pas avoir de regrets. Allons-y.
What? Where are we going this time?
T'inquiète, on va voir la danse. Moi, je vous dis, c'est Nilou qui rêve de ça. Parce que c'est un peu la star de l'événement, on va pas se mentir, vu que c'est elle qui danse et tout machin. Je pense que ça doit être un des plus beaux jours et un des pires du coup, vu qu'à la fin ils lui disent qu'elle peut pas danser. Mais genre ça doit être un des plus beaux jours de sa vie si tu veux. Genre c'est une danseuse de théâtre et tout, et d'un coup on lui donne le rôle de sa vie.
If you continue to
Je pense
resist, we
que...
will have to order an investigation into every single event organizer.
Imagine qu'ils disparaissent.
The Grand Sage has already granted you much leniency. I advise that you exercise tact.
How did things turn out like this? Traveler? You don't have to get involved. He's a sage from the academia. I don't want to drag you into this.
Traveler.
Traveler? What the heck are you doing? If you get arrested by the academia, that's another day gone to waste.
Mais non, il n'existe pas, je vais les faire disparaître. Ouf. Je pense que c'est ça ce qu'elle veut faire. Ils sont
Wait.
coincés.
They're not reacting. Have they been scared stiff?
Ce sont des marionnettes.
Oh, of course! If this is the sage's plan, they wouldn't put themselves through this.
Donc c'est elle qui les imagine pour
So
moi.
they're just substitutes.
What is this? What happened to the Grand Sage and his entourage?
Atteint et les fleurs. Mais atteint.
Like I said, they symbolize the goddess of flowers. It's just a shame that all the real Padisarahs went extinct after her death.
Yes. The Greater Lord brought forth new Padisarahs in memory of the goddess of flowers. But she ultimately could never truly replicate that beautiful shade of purple.
Oh, et là c'est des fleurs violettes qu'on a en face de nous, non? C'est pour ça que ça l'a fait bugger.
Ah, that beautiful shade of purple. Aren't these flowers real Padisarahs? Just like the ones from the legend? I didn't even notice. Tanyarzad, did you find these?
But didn't you just say all the real flowers went extinct after the goddess of flowers passed away? So, how?
Yeah. What's going on here?
Ah, c'est elle qui rêve, c'était sûr. Nilou, ferme les yeux, on teste un truc. Imagine que le grand chat qui sont plus là, quoi.
You guys are acting weird. But okay, I'll try.
Hop,
Hey!
ouf. Disparitus.
Disappeared! So Nilou's the host. What a surprise! Purple Padisarahs don't exist in the real world anymore. But in Nilou's subconscious, they can appear as decorations
Oui, parce que
on
pour
the
elle,
stage.
c'est la déco.
It's just like the example Nahida told us. People assumed there will be food on a plate, and Nilou assumed there would be real Padisarahs in the flower pots.
Ouais,
So when you saw the flowers, you instantly knew it was Nilou?
exactly.
But if we want to end the samsara, we need the host to become aware that they're dreaming. How should we make Nilou realize that?
Am I dreaming?
Ah, let's go. Comment en es-tu arrivé à ces conclusions?
So I'm right. Is this Lesser Lord Kusanali responding to our celebration of the Sabzerus festival?
C'est pas exactement ça, mais
Yes,
tranquille.
but you aren't completely wrong either. The point is, what made you think this is a dream? As far as you know, people in Sumeru don't dream, right?
Yeah, but have you heard the tale of the first sage? To prevent a calamity, he went on a journey to find the Dendroarchon.
Mhm.
Ooh, sounds familiar. Dunyarzad told us a story like that when we first arrived in Sumeru City. So it was about the first sage, huh?
Yep, but in the part you heard, he hadn't become the first sage yet. There's more to the story.
Mhm.
His piety and wisdom were acknowledged by the Dendroarchon, and she finally gave her blessing to him.
Ok.
All kinds of spectacular scenes appeared in front of the first sage, as if all the knowledge in the world was being painted onto a canvas right before him. He was captivated.
Ouais.
After who knows how long, he mastered all the knowledge he could comprehend. Afterward, he said to the Dendroarchon, "I miss my parents, my wife, and my children. I've been away from home for far too long. They must be worried." The
Et hop, il a été
Dendroarchon smiled.
instant TP,
The
non?
next second, the sage found himself
Ouais.
lying in his bed, as if he had just woken up from a dream.
Bah parce qu'il était
His
vraiment en
wife,
train de
lying
rêver en
next to
fait.
him, said, "You're off to search for the Dendroarchon today, aren't you? Have a safe journey, my love." In the end, the first sage took care of many disasters in Sumeru City and founded the Academia. What a happy ending.
So the first sage was dreaming ever since the beginning of the story? He never went on his journey?
Bah
Yes.
non.
But his faith and determination were conveyed to the Dendroarchon, so she blessed him in the form of a dream.
Paimon understands where you're coming from now. That's a really interesting connection. But we really gotta wake up soon, like the sage in the story.
Ouais, et maintenant qu'elle est au courant, le rêve devrait bientôt se
I
terminer.
see. Well, it just so happens that today's Sub-Zero's festival is almost over too.
Et ouais.
Since we're in a dream, let's make this final dance of Sub-Zero's as beautiful as we can.
Allez, vas-y. J'entends ça depuis longtemps. Danse, vas-y ma fille. On va éloigner ça. Surtout que comme c'est ton rêve, genre, fais-toi plaisir, meuf.
The wait is over, everyone. I dedicate this to our god, the dance of Sub-Zero's.
I'd be lying if I said I had no regrets. I would have loved to see Nilou's dance.
C'est marrant, tout le monde disparaît. Nous aussi, ouais, j'allais dire sauf nous, mais en fait si, nous aussi. Ah, c'était joli. Joli et un peu émouvant du coup, vu qu'il y a Tony Hazard qui revient sous forme de fantôme pour voir la danse qu'elle voulait absolument voir.
Oh, good morning, traveler. Oh, Paimon feels like she's been asleep for the longest time.
C'est un peu la vérité, c'est un peu vrai. Bonjour Paimon, j'ai mal à la tête, que tu
Paimon's head
t'es...
feels super heavy. Did we oversleep? Do you even remember going to sleep last night?
Non.
Paimon thinks it was after the Sub-Zero's festival. The
Sub-Zero's.
Sub-Zero's festival! Have we finally escaped from the Sub-Zero samsara?
Yes, I remember.
Take off your Akasha terminal!
À la fin de la danse, je crois que j'ai vu... Vite, allons voir de Niezard. Vite, vite, vite. Chut, chut, chut. Paimon qui n'a jamais volé aussi vite.
She's not in her room. What happened?
Allons à l'endroit habituel.
What usual spot?
Le bain. Le bain. Allons au banc. Hop. Piou. Ah non. Ah, là où il y a Naïda, tu veux dire, oui. Bonjour. En fait, elle était là. C'est bon, tout va bien.
Well done, Traveler and Paimon.
On a
And
réussi.
thank you, Dunyarzad, for organizing the Sub-Zero's festival for me.
I'm sorry, who are...
Dunyarzad! You're okay! Oh, don't scare us like that!
Oh, Traveler Paimon. I have something amazing to tell you. I just had a dream, and I saw Nilou performing the dance of Sub-Zero's.
Mais du coup, pourquoi elle est pas morte? Parler à Katoche. Ah, on a gagné un... Oh, attendez. C'est ça, non? Non, c'est pas ça. Ah, c'est pour notre... Hop, hop, hop. Bon, déjà, il y a lui que j'ai acheté, là, cette semaine. Tac. Bah, elle est où? C'est pour la voyageuse, mais en version dendro, donc c'est pour ça, là, elle est en... Ouais, voilà. Donc, à mon avis, quand je la passerai version dendro, du coup, tac, tac, on pourra l'augmenter de Constel. Mais bon, la voyageuse qui la joue, vraiment, je sais pas. On va continuer un petit peu, on a encore un peu de temps.
You're actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sub-Zero's festival. And Dunyarzad, did you save her? It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the Traveler's favorite bench?
C'est pas la voix de Catherine, hein. Pour moi, c'est Naïda qui prend une autre forme. Enfin, oui, ça a l'air d'être ça, hein. En plus, c'est juste que là, elle a pris la forme de Catherine pour pas choquer trop tout le monde. Même si en vrai, je pense que personne sait qu'elle a cette forme-là, hein, du coup. Donc, je pense qu'elle peut se trimballer sous sa vraie forme. Personne lui dira rien.
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right. After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what the Traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original dream,
Ah, ok.
where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible, but it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two breaking the samsara.
Bah, let's go.
So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad in the end. Not a moment too soon.
C'est une fin très heureuse.
two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. I need to spend more time observing human emotions. Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently. All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will answer any and all questions.
Ok. Donc parlez-moi de ce que j'ai rêvé dans la forêt, donc c'est-à-dire le grand arbre rouge et argent là. Pourquoi vous ressemblez à Catherine, genre? Parlez-moi du plan des sages. Donc à quoi faut s'attendre encore là? On a enlevé l'akasha qui était dans notre oreilleux, mais bon, si on peut, voilà, détourner le problème, enfin, empêcher que ça continue avec d'autres gens, pourquoi pas. Personne n'a remarqué le problème avec l'akasha. Je sais pas. Allez,
At the
faisons dans
Avon
l'ordre.
forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky. You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you do know. We've been wanting to ask you what that was about, and if the red sky was related to Conria. It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. Perhaps her last memory before she died. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable. A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata? We thought it was from King Deshret. King Deshret? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. You probably just heard
Ouais,
some of their
avec...
conspiracies.
Oui, oui.
Okay, so what does the message mean?
Ouais, quoi que ça parle. Allez.
I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable of doing that. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the academia about this many times, but people still keep falling victim to it. But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying to decipher it.
Mhm.
So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tainari also said that Irminsul is sick. Is it because of the contaminated consciousness? But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about, it seems like our search for you was all in vain. The traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No,
Ok.
we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left.
Ok.
This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Tevat's.
Bon. Pourquoi tu ressembles à Catherine? Parce que là, quand même.
To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness.
Ah, ok.
How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses? Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal.
Super.
The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet. Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No.
Catherine est juste une marionnette, ce n'est pas une vraie personne. Je me suis fait spoil de ça, mais...
Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana?
That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru.
Mhm.
At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since.
Ouais.
However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing.
Ouais.
So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida?
In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death, the Akasha is still empowering this nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call
Oups là,
myself the God
pardon,
of
j'ai tapé dans le
Wisdom.
micro.
Moreover, the academia is also more proficient at governing this country.
Pour moi, vous êtes un
My
excellent
existence
archon.
has little meaning.
Parce que quand même, on en a vu qui était quand même pas ouf, hein. Toi au moins, t'es un petit peu présente.
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you.
Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha.
Mhm.
Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that, and try to live up to being a deity in the meantime. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should be enough.
Mais oui, t'as pas besoin d'être omnipotente, tout ce que tu veux. Genre, fais juste ton bail. Puis voilà. Le plan des sages. J'espère qu'une fois que cette conversation sera terminée, on pourra partir, enfin arrêter l'épisode et pas continuer sur des milliards de dialogues.
There's never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path, and what they hope to achieve. Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, if the traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero samsara, the situation could have become dire. I
Mhm.
tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious. And all the people of interest seem to purposely avoid wearing their Akasha terminals.
Ouais.
I think they're deliberately trying to hide something.
Oui, puis en plus, comme ils ont pas d'Akasha, toi, tu peux pas aller
In
leur...
Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Tainari to join some kind of project. Could it be related?
Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. But I'll have to be discreet, or they'll see me coming.
Ok. Et personne n'a remarqué le problème avec
You mean
l'Akasha, genre.
how the Akasha stops you from having dreams?
Ouais,
Yeah,
entre autres.
it's been such a long time. No one's noticed something's up?
Ils se sont pas dit,
It's
tiens,
not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in the sage's misdirection.
Misdirection?
The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru.
ouais,
Even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate their research. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly against this. Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk about their dreams.
ouais. Parce que et oui, c'est un peu un lavage de cerveau, quoi. Ceux qui ont la cacha, ils se font voler leurs rêves, du coup, ils rêvent pas. Et ceux qui n'en ont pas, ils vont pas dire aux autres, ah bah moi j'ai rêvé de ça, machin. Parce que bah du coup c'est un peu la honte, quoi. Parce que vu que personne rêve, et que le non-rêve est vu comme une preuve d'intelligence, du coup. Donc voilà, ok. I
Got
don't
it.
have question.
I hope my answers were satisfactory, seekers of knowledge. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while.
Oui, bah t'inquiète.
Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Sub-Zero Samsara in the immediate future. Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us.
Ok.
What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Si. Allez, va dormir.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
On t'a fait une blague, t'inquiète.
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you.
Hihi. Allez. Bonne journée, Catherine.
We've spent quite some time in Sumeru City, but ever since we last said goodbye to Lesser Lord Kusanali, we haven't heard anything from her.
Ah nom de
Aw.
Dieu.
We can't just keep waiting around like this. Let's go find Catherine and pick up some work so we can at least keep ourselves busy.
Ok. Donc on a ça, parler à la Catherine, et j'imagine qu'après, voilà. On a d'autres quêtes, on a ça, et on a sûrement des quêtes histoire. Hop, piou, 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 hop, là. Plutôt celle de Nilou, ok. On va les débloquer tant qu'on peut les débloquer. Hop. Et Tignari, comme ça, ce sera fait aussi. Hop, et on récupère ça pour avoir la petite clé. Voilà. Ok, eh bien on continuera par ça la prochaine fois. J'espère que cet épisode vous a plu. On va s'arrêter là avant de relancer des dialogues en tous sens. J'espère que cet épisode vous a plu. Attendez, je vais me boucher. Voilà. Si c'est le cas, si ça vous a plu, n'hésitez pas à mettre un petit like, ça me soutient, ça soutient la chaîne. Ça flatte un petit peu l'algorithme, même si bon, voilà. C'est... Et puis n'hésitez pas aussi à mettre un petit commentaire si vous avez quoi que ce soit à dire. Voilà. Et puis abonnez-vous pour surtout pas louper la suite de toute cette petite aventure. Voilà, que ce soit sur Genshin ou sur Pokémon. Et d'ici la prochaine fois, jeudi prochain à 17 h, comme d'habitude, prenez soin de vous, prenez soin de vos proches, portez-vous bien. Bye!